Have you ever wondered what happens inside you when you decide to walk away from someone? I'm not just talking about the physical moment when you create distance, but about that deep act of freeing yourself from what does not resonate with you, from what, in some way, has been holding you back. Carl Jung, a visionary of the human mind, left us teachings that illuminate this process and transform it into something greater, something profoundly meaningful. Walking away is not simply saying goodbye. It is much more than that. It is an act of courage, a declaration to the universe that you are ready to prioritize your peace, your authenticity, and your true self. But taking that step does not come without challenges. Deep within you, in the depths of your unconscious, a transformation begins to take shape. It is as if something inside you awakens and tells you, it's time. And although that decision may feel liberating, it also brings doubts, fears, and sometimes a momentary loneliness that seems difficult to bear. Carl Jung taught us that these emotions are not mere coincidences. They are the reflection of a much larger process, a dialogue between who you believe you are and who you truly are. When you decide to walk away, you are breaking a pattern, a connection that may have been feeding aspects of yourself that you would rather not confront. But here lies the true power of this decision. When you choose to distance yourself from what drains you, you are not just gaining space. You are creating the conditions for something much better to flourish in your life. Have you noticed how, after walking away from certain people, you start to feel a peace you didn't even know you needed? It's as if, by letting go of that relationship, you also release a burden you had been carrying without realizing it. But what you may not know is that this act also profoundly impacts those who remain on the other side. Your departure, even if it seems simple, can be an earthquake in their inner world. Carl Jung would call it a moment of confrontation, a mirror reflecting truths that are often easier to ignore. That is the magic and the challenge of these kinds of decisions. When you walk away, you are not just choosing for yourself. You are leaving a mark on others, a call, conscious or not, for them to look inward as well. And here's the secret: not everyone will be ready to face it. Some will try to hold on to you, manipulate you, or make you feel guilty. But remember, that does not speak about you. It speaks about their own shadows, their own fears of losing control or facing what your departure represents. The hardest part of walking away is not the distance itself, but the emptiness that remains. The space that used to be filled with conversations, shared energy, and habits that, even if toxic, felt familiar. Jung taught that emptiness is not something to fear. On the contrary, it is a sacred place, a blank canvas, where we can rebuild ourselves, rediscover ourselves, and most importantly, reconnect with our most authentic essence. The real challenge is resisting the temptation to fill that emptiness immediately. Because let's be honest, it is easier to seek a new relationship, a new circle, or even any distraction, rather than face yourself. But this is where transformation happens. Jung teaches us that by confronting that emptiness, we discover who we truly are. It is an uncomfortable process, yes, but also profoundly liberating. When you take that step and walk away, you are not just marking physical distance. What truly happens is that you are drawing a line between what you deserve and what you have been allowing until now. It is a revolutionary act for your soul, a clear message to your unconscious that says, my needs matter, my peace matters, my truth matters. But this message is not only heard by you, others feel it too, especially those from whom you distance yourself. They will not always understand it. In fact, their reaction will often be to try to cling to you, not because they need you, but because you force them to face something they would rather not see. Carl Jung called this projection. Everything we refuse to accept about ourselves, we project onto others. So when you decide to let go, your decision becomes a mirror. It reflects to them their own insecurities, fears, and voids. It is not you who hurts them. It is their own internal struggle that becomes more evident in your absence. This is where inner work becomes crucial, because while they deal with their projections, you also face your own. It is easy to fall into guilt, into the fear of having made the wrong decision. But Jung would remind us that this is a moment for introspection, a time to observe your own patterns and discover which parts of yourself have been silenced, repressed, or even sacrificed in those relationships. Many times, what we fear most is not walking away, but rather what we discover about ourselves when we do. Because the truth is this: we do not always choose to surround ourselves with the best people for our well-being. Sometimes, we attract what we believe we deserve at that moment, what resonates with our deepest wounds. And when you decide to walk away, you are not just breaking a bond with someone else. You are also breaking ties with those wounds that have defined your choices until now. Have you ever felt that mixture of relief and uncertainty after letting go of a relationship? That is your psyche adapting, reorganizing, and finding a new balance. According to Jung, this process is like a symbolic death. You allow a part of yourself trapped in old patterns to die so that a rebirth can take place. And although it is painful, it is also profoundly transformative. In the emptiness that remains, you begin to notice something magical. New ideas, new interests, and most importantly, new people start to enter your life. People who do not demand that you change, who do not try to mold you, but who accept you exactly as you are. These connections that seem to appear out of nowhere are not coincidences. Jung would call them synchronicities, signs that you are aligned with your essence, that you are on the right path. But here's the key. For these synchronicities to occur, you must be willing to completely let go, not just physically, but also emotionally and energetically. Stop looking back. Stop trying to justify your decision or seeking external validation. Because the truth is, you do not need others to understand your decision. It is enough that you understand it. It is enough that you recognize that you are choosing your well-being over any external expectation. As you move forward, something profound begins to change within you. That inner voice that once whispered now starts to speak with greater clarity. You become more aware of your boundaries, of what you truly value, and of what you are no longer willing to negotiate. This does not mean that you become insensitive or selfish. Rather, it means that you begin to prioritize from a place of self-love, from a place where you understand that taking care of yourself is not just necessary, it is essential. The impact of this transformation is not limited to you. The people who remain in your life feel it too. Your authenticity, your clarity, and your renewed energy inspire those who are ready to grow with you. And those who are not simply drift away. Not because you reject them, but because they no longer resonate with the person you are becoming. When you start living from this place of authenticity, something incredible happens. Your energy changes, and with it, everything around you. Jung spoke of the power of aligning with your true self, of connecting with what he called the self, that deepest, most authentic part that lives within all of us. When you decide to prioritize yourself, you are sending a clear signal to the universe. I am ready to receive what I truly deserve. That alignment not only attracts the right people, but also filters out everything that is not in harmony with you. It is as if life itself begins to work in your favor. The relationships that once seemed impossible to leave behind start to fade, not with conflict, but with a peace that once seemed unattainable. It is at that moment when you realize that the greatest gift you can give yourself is to allow yourself to be who you truly are. But how can you recognize if you are living from your authentic self? Jung would tell us that an authentic life is not measured by how many people accept or approve of you, but by how you feel about yourself at the end of the day. If you are surrounded by people who constantly make you feel like you need to change, that you are not enough, or that you have to hide parts of yourself to fit in, that is a clear sign that something is not aligned. The real challenge is learning to let go with love, not with resentment. Because letting go does not mean rejecting or despising others. It means being grateful for what was, recognizing what you have learned, and understanding that sometimes the greatest act of love you can do is to release. Release others from your expectations and release yourself from the weight of relationships that no longer nourish you. In this process, it is normal for doubts to arise. We have been taught that walking away can be selfish or insensitive, but Jung had a different perspective. For him, taking care of your soul, your psyche, is not just a right, it is a responsibility. If you are not well with yourself, how can you expect to give your best to others? If your energy is drained, If your light is dimmed by trying to maintain relationships that do not nourish you, then you are not truly living. You are merely surviving. There is incredible power in recognizing your own boundaries. Jung described it as an act of integration. It is not about building walls, but about establishing bridges where there was once chaos. It is about understanding that saying no is not an act of rejection, but of affirmation. You affirm who you are, what you value, and what you need to flourish. And when you do this, something beautiful happens. The people who truly matter, the ones who are meant to walk with you, understand it. They do not try to change you or hold you back. They support you, celebrate you, and grow with you. Of course, not everyone will be ready to accept your transformation. There will be those who question your decisions, who try to make you doubt yourself. But this is where true strength lies, in not allowing external opinions to dictate your path. Jung taught us that the only approval that truly matters is the one that comes from your own heart. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who lives with the consequences of your choices, not others. As you continue moving forward, you start to notice that life feels lighter. You no longer feel the need to explain your decisions or justify your choices. You simply live, trusting that the path you are building is the right one for you. This level of confidence does not appear overnight. It is the result of deep inner work, of facing your shadows, listening to your intuition, and consciously choosing what elevates your soul. The true gift of this process is not just the peace you find, but also the freedom. A freedom that goes beyond external circumstances. It is the freedom to be yourself, to live without fear, to embrace every part of yourself, even those you once considered imperfect or inadequate. Because when you integrate all parts of your being, you realize that you do not need to be perfect to be whole. You are already enough, just as you are. This transformation not only changes how you see yourself, but also how you relate to the world. When you choose to let go of what no longer resonates with you, you are making space for new things to arrive. Healthier relationships, unexpected opportunities, and above all, a deeper sense of purpose. Carl Jung would say that you are allowing the unconscious to work in your favor, synchronizing your life with possibilities that were always there, but that you could not see because you were trapped in dynamics that kept you from moving forward. Have you noticed how, when you let go of something that once seemed essential, things start to fall into place in ways you never imagined? It is as if the universe responds to your decision to let go by sending you signs, people, and experiences that validate your new path. This is not a coincidence. Jung called it synchronicity, the mysterious connection between external events and your inner world. It is proof that when you align with your essence, everything around you also begins to align. However, this does not mean that the journey is always easy. There will be days when you feel nostalgia, doubts, and even fear of having made the wrong decision. But these feelings are not signs that you should go back. They are part of the reconstruction process. It is like remodeling a house. First, you have to tear down walls, face the dust and chaos before you can create a new and beautiful space. Jung would remind us that this chaos is not something to fear. It is the fertile ground where true transformation can flourish. When you decide to prioritize yourself, something deeper begins to happen. Your dreams, those you may have buried, resurface. Perhaps you always wanted to dedicate yourself to something you are passionate about, but the expectations of others led you down a different path. Or maybe you felt that you were not good enough to pursue your goals. This is the moment when those limiting beliefs begin to crumble, because by letting go of what does not belong to you, you are also releasing the fears and doubts that others projected onto you. Something fascinating that Jung taught is that the unconscious does not only store our shadows and fears, it also holds our greatest potential. Within you, there are talents, ideas, and abilities that you have not yet explored. Not because they do not exist, but because you had not created the space for them to emerge. When you decide to live from your authenticity, those parts of you begin to manifest in ways you never even imagined. It is as if, by letting go of the old, you are turning on a light that illuminates everything that was hidden. This process also teaches you something valuable. You do not have to do it all alone. Jung deeply believed in human connection and how our relationships can be a source of support and growth. But these connections must be genuine, based on mutual respect and the acceptance of who you truly are. When you surround yourself with people who celebrate your authenticity instead of trying to change you, you discover the true power of human relationships. It is important to remember that this journey is not about eliminating everyone from your life. It is about discerning, about consciously choosing who is aligned with you and who is not. The relationships that truly matter are those in which you can be yourself, without fear, without pretense, without feeling the need to prove your worth. Jung said that authentic relationships not only nourish our soul, but also push us to grow, to expand, and to become the best version of ourselves. As you move forward, you will realize something powerful. The peace you were seeking outside was always within you. You do not need others to complete you because you are already whole. You do not need external validation because your worth does not depend on anyone's opinion. This is the greatest gift you can give yourself, the freedom to be yourself, without asking for permission, without apologies, without fear. Maintaining this authenticity in your daily life may seem challenging, especially when the world around you continues to operate under dynamics of superficiality, expectations, and conformity. But here is the key. Living from your authenticity does not mean being perfect or having all the answers. It means choosing every day to align with who you are, even in the midst of uncertainty and external pressures. Jung taught us that the greatest enemy of our authenticity is not others, but our own shadows. Those parts of us that we fear facing, that we have repressed because they do not fit the image we want to project. But here lies the true power. When you begin to integrate those shadows, they no longer have control over you. Instead of sabotaging you, they become a source of wisdom and strength. A clear example of this is how we react to the judgment of others. When you live from your authenticity, there will inevitably be people who do not understand it or even criticize you. But those criticisms can only affect you if they touch something within you that you have not accepted. If you have made peace with your shadows, those words lose their power, not because you have become insensitive, but because you recognize that what others say about you has more to do with them than with you. The next step on this path is learning to set boundaries. This does not mean closing your heart or distancing yourself from everyone. It means being clear about what you allow in your life. Carl Jung said that our relationships are a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. If others treat you with disdain or make you feel less, it is a sign that there are still parts of you that need love and acceptance. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of respect toward yourself and others. Imagine that your energy is like a garden. Every relationship, every interaction is a seed you plant. Some seeds bloom and bring beauty and joy into your life, while others can turn into weeds, draining your energy and robbing you of space to grow. Learning to take care of your inner garden is essential to maintaining your authenticity. This means surrounding yourself with people who nourish your soul, who celebrate your growth, and who are willing to walk with you, not behind or ahead, but by your side. Another crucial aspect is listening to your intuition. In our society, this inner power is often underestimated, but Jung considered it one of the most valuable tools for navigating life. Your intuition is that silent voice that guides you toward what is true for you. Sometimes it appears as a feeling of peace, other times as a slight discomfort that warns you when something is not aligned. Listening to it requires practice and trust, but the more you do it, the stronger it becomes. Authenticity also connects you with your purpose. Jung believed that each of us has a unique calling, something only we can contribute to the world. But to discover it, you need to free yourself from distractions, from the expectations of others, and from the limiting beliefs you have accumulated throughout your life. By doing so, you begin to notice a pattern in the things that excite you, in the moments that make you feel alive, and in the ideas you cannot ignore. That is the universe speaking to you, showing you your path. As you progress through this process, you will notice a subtle but profound shift in how you experience life. The small things that once went unnoticed begin to take on greater meaning. A conversation with a friend, a moment of tranquility in nature. Even an unexpected challenge becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to connect with yourself and others. It is as if everything in your life acquires a new purpose. This transformation also has a greater impact than you imagine. When you choose to live from your authenticity, you inspire others to do the same. You do not need to give speeches or convince anyone. Your example is enough. The people around you will begin to notice the change in you, your clarity, your peace, your renewed energy. And while not everyone will be ready to follow your path, some will. You will be a light in their lives, proof that it is possible to live with purpose and fulfillment. When you live from your authenticity, a shift occurs in the dynamics of your relationships. You no longer seek the approval of others to validate who you are. Instead, you become someone who inspires respect and admiration, not because you seek it, but because your energy reflects confidence, clarity, and peace. Carl Jung would say that this happens because you have integrated what he called the self, that essential core of your being that connects your conscious and unconscious in harmony. As this integration deepens, you begin to see the world with new eyes. The experiences that once disturbed you lose their power over you. Instead of feeling trapped in external conflicts, you start seeking the inner lessons that each situation brings. It is a subtle but transformative shift. You stop reacting to life and begin responding from a place of calm and wisdom. This new perspective does not mean that life becomes perfect or that challenges disappear. In fact, sometimes these challenges intensify, because by living from your truth, you inevitably begin to question systems, relationships, and structures that you once took for granted. Jung taught us that this process is like a fire. It eliminates what no longer serves to make way for something more authentic and aligned with you. Something fascinating is how the people around you react to this transformation. Some will be drawn to your renewed energy, seeking to understand how you have achieved the peace you now radiate. But others may feel uncomfortable because your authenticity confronts them with the areas of their own lives that they have neglected. This is not something you should take as a personal attack. On the contrary, it is a sign that your process is creating a profound impact, even beyond what you can see. At this point, the importance of maintaining your focus becomes crucial. The external noise can be tempting. People trying to convince you to change, to go back, to reconsider your decisions. But this is where your connection with your intuition, that internal compass that never fails, becomes your greatest ally. Jung said that intuition is not just an instinct. It is the voice of your unconscious guiding you toward what is in tune with your true purpose. As you move forward on this path, you will likely begin to notice a curious phenomenon. Doors that once seemed closed start to open. New opportunities, connections, and experiences begin to flow toward you with an ease that once seemed impossible. This is not magic or coincidence. It is the result of living in alignment with yourself. When you stop fighting against what does not resonate and start acting from your authenticity, you create an energetic field that attracts what you need to flourish. It is important to remember that this journey is not linear. There will be days when you feel strong and unstoppable, and others when doubts return. But even in those moments, remember that the simple act of choosing yourself is already an act of courage. You do not need to have all the answers today. The only thing you need is the willingness to keep walking, to keep exploring, and to keep trusting that you are exactly where you need to be. Now, I want to invite you to take the next step. If this message resonated with you, if something inside you moved while listening to these words, do not ignore it. This could be the beginning of a change that transforms your life. But you do not have to do it alone. Share this video with someone you feel needs to hear it, someone who is searching for answers or struggling with similar doubts. Never underestimate the power of a word, an idea, or a message shared at the right moment. It could be exactly what that person needs to take a turn in their journey. Let me know which part of this message touched you the most. What reflection stayed with you? What decision are you ready to make? Leave your comment below. I want to read your story, your thoughts, your dreams. Your words not only inspire me to continue creating content like this, but also help this message reach more people. Our community is what keeps this conversation alive, what amplifies this message, and brings it to those who need it the most. If you have not yet done so, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you do not miss any of our upcoming videos. Every interaction, every comment, and every subscription is not just support for the channel. It is a way to expand this message and build a community where knowledge and authenticity are at the center. Together, we can create a space where more people discover their true potential and find the tools to live in alignment with their truth. The change starts with you, but it does not end there. Every small act, every decision has the power to transform not only your life, but also the world around you. Thank you for being here, for listening, and most of all, for taking the first step toward the life you have always deserved. See you in the next video. Be authentic, be brave, and never stop seeking your truth. Over time, you will realize that this transformation has not only changed your life, but also the lives of those around you. Your relationships begin to reflect the quality of your energy. Those who remain by your side do so because they are aligned with you, not because they need something from you. And those who drift away are not a loss, but a liberation, a reminder that not everything and not everyone is meant to be with you forever. As this journey toward your authenticity progresses, you realize something essential. What you once considered chaos, you now see as part of the necessary process for your growth. The relationships you let go of, the situations you left behind, and the challenges you faced were not obstacles, but lessons that prepared you to be who you are now. Carl Jung said that life is not about avoiding suffering, but about finding meaning in every experience, even the most difficult ones. And that is exactly what you are doing by choosing your truth. This path not only transforms your relationship with yourself, but also with the world around you. When you decide to live from your authenticity, you become a beacon, an inspiration to others. You may not notice it at first, but there are people observing your evolution, people who need that reminder that it is also possible for them. Your courage in choosing yourself shows them that there is another way, one where peace and purpose are not distant dreams, but achievable realities. And this is where your impact expands. Every decision you make, every step you take toward your authenticity creates a ripple effect. It will inspire others to reflect, to question themselves, and perhaps to make their own transformative decisions. That is the beauty of this journey. It does not just change your life, but also touches the lives of those around you in profound and meaningful ways.